My name's Kate Spear and I'm from Inspirational Futures, and we are a social enterprise who create resources and workshops for children to support mental health and well-being. And the company originally was developed by myself and another teacher, and then when we decided to become a social enterprise, another friend and another teacher joined us. So there's three of us now, myself, Jill and Laura are the founding members of the social enterprise that is Inspirational Futures Wellbeing Support. So we're all teachers. Myself and the two other founders were all teachers. Myself and Jill used to be a job share in a class, and then Laura, our other founder, was in the classroom next door to us. So we all had a very similar ethos with around teaching and learning and really bringing it back to children's well-being, tending to be our primary focus when it came to our classrooms. And so it was just a real common ground for us all. And so when Jill and I decided to start the original business, which was just a limited company, Laura was always involved. We always used to go to her for sort of advice and sounding out different ideas and things. And so when we became a social enterprise and we had the opportunity to all work together, then it was a no-brainer. It was just generally myself and Jill talking about it, because obviously I say we were a job share, and it always just came back to that. It was, how can we get the best and make the best situation and environment for these children and support them however best we knew how. And we weren't talking like literacy, numeracy, the usual sort of things you're thinking about when you go into school, but how to help them prepare themselves for like life, because all you see now is the statistics and the data that come out that it's just getting a little bit harder, and we just wanted to try and make it a little bit easier. So we wanted to make it a social enterprise just because of the general idea around social entrepreneurship and speaking to people in like Social Business Wales and some of the other businesses we know from Welsh ICE, and just generally the idea that with a social enterprise, the whole point is to make the world better, make things better for people, not purely to be profit driven. And it's never really been our intention is that, oh, this is going to be the business that's going to make us millions. It was always, how can we make the difference? How can we make that impact? And so once we sort of researched a little bit more and we had a business advisor through Social Business Wales, it just seemed to fall into place and it made sense. I don't think we ever really thought, well, you know how people, when you work together, oh, wouldn't it be good if we had a business together? We'd be great, we'd be brilliant business partners. And it was never really a realistic thing. And then the circumstances changed and things, and we just went, do you know what? We've got an idea. I think there's something in this. We should give it a go. And to be honest, it feels right for me, to be fair. I've got a passion, and teaching and supporting children is essentially it. And to be able to try and mold that into a business is it's a learning curve, but it's one I'm really enjoying. It's making a difference, knowing that you've supported or made a difference to not even just children at the moment, parents, teachers. Some of the resources we've made, especially during COVID, have really gone quite far reaching, and knowing that you might have improved just a few people's lives during this absolutely rubbish time, it makes that's I suppose the whole point of social enterprise, and you're making the difference and you're having that impact. So we had exactly the same conversation, and it was like the beginning of March, and I was with Jill, and I said to her, the way things are going, I can really see this having a massive impact long term on children more than anything, but on everyone. It's going to just be huge. And I said, I really feel like we need to do something and support or provide something. I said, we've been working on this idea and this business for the best part of a year, especially when Laura joined us. I said, we've got to do something with this to try and make a difference and help. And back then we were all like, but it'll come to nothing, we'll be fine, it won't be a massive thing. And then obviously time went on, and so we started creating all our different bits and bobs, and yeah, over time as well, throughout COVID, we've done research and we've done questionnaires and we've talked to people, and generally you could see things, the way things were going to be, you could anticipate them, and you know, the anxieties and the worries, the change and the difference, especially for children. Like, I dropped my daughter off to school this morning, and she's quite happy. We've talked a lot about it. We've gone through what it would be like and how to expect things, and so she was quite prepared. She had her 2 friends with her, so they were all happy to go in together. But you could see there was a lot of worried faces wandering around this morning. And our idea, I suppose, essentially behind the social enterprise, is that we want to try and ease that burden for those children, especially knowing now, after all this time away and all the different things they've heard and listened to and been around for the past 6 months, just to be able to do something to ease that over the next year, 2 years, 3 years. It's, you know, it's going to have such long lasting effects. I think flexible working in that sense is really important. I know, obviously, myself and Jill work supply, so at the moment that's very much up in the air. And Laura still is in a classroom. She does part-time teaching, which I think is what works for her, is that, you know, you've got that work-life balance, especially as a teacher, which is why me and Jill were both job shares, because it worked for us. We both did half a week each, and it gave us that sort of downtime. Though as teachers, you never have downtime, because even on the days you weren't in, you were still doing something or thinking about something or whatever. But for us three, again, that was one of our common grounds, is we all understood the importance of having that, especially as teachers, that work life and being able to work but have those couple of extra days. We all got kids, so to be able to try and juggle your life around that. But with regards to the social enterprise, being able to try and work flexibly with that, is that Zoom essentially at the moment for us has been an absolute lifesaver, because we tend to meet in the evenings. Any of the meetings we've had with like Social Business Wales, and we've got a couple of mentors and things through Unlimited and stuff, they've all been able to really be flexible as well, and they've met with us in the evenings via Zoom. So, you know, some good things have come out of this, because those sort of situations, I don't think you'd feel as comfortable going, do you think, would we 7:30 on a Thursday night be all right to meet for you to some, and they'd be like, no. But via Zoom, you're sitting in your house with a coffee, it doesn't quite feel so imposing, you know. So we came to apply for 5to9 because another teacher that we knew had been through it as well, and she's opened a local like play centre. So when I spoke to her about it, she was like, "It's brilliant. You want to speak to Welsh Ice? They're so useful connections and support and things." So once I spoke to them, and then they said, "Look, we've got this course. You know, you're welcome to come on it." And then the course that they ran was literally 5 minutes from my house. I was like, it couldn't be more perfect for me to go. So I dragged Jill along, because as I say, I'm a nerd and I like to learn things. And she was like, all right. But she came away from it as well, really appreciative of how much support and information they were able to give us. And then obviously through them, we've also joined the, what's it called, ICE 50. We were one of the ICE 50 members as our limited company, and hopefully will apply for the next section of ICE 50 membership as the social enterprise now. In order to continue all that support. But even then, you know, Leslie, as you know, from Welsh Ice, is just brilliant, and you could go to her with any questions or anything like that. We've used the we used the collab quite a lot when we wanted to work together and have meetings with like Jane from Unlimited and things. We'd use it as a space to meet in. But just generally as a community, it's brilliant. If you need something, is obviously we've got a group and you can just put a question out and someone will always help you. I think that's just generally the nature of all these different people who are entrepreneurs, is that you just want, oh yeah, well, yeah, I know something a little about this. Do you want a little hand with that, or do you want to have a coffee or a Zoom, as I've had to do for the past 6 months? But it's just a general, maybe it's just people who are entrepreneurs, just a general feeling of helpfulness about them. It's just a brilliant community, yeah. So the importance of having that connection between different entrepreneurs, even in different sectors, is important, because you could be so, you know, insular and siloed about your own business, and I could only speak to other businesses who are to do with well-being or mental health or whatever, but you're never really going to learn anything then, are you? So having those connections, obviously through BeTheSpark or through Welsh Ice or using the 5to9Club or any of the little different, you know, groups that you come across along this journey, I hate that word, but having those connections is always enabling you to learn a little bit more, or as you say, share that knowledge. If you've learned something, because that's really interesting, but it's no use to me, but somebody else you're having a conversation with in, say, your co-working space, or just generally through different groups or whatever, you go, oh, well, I've spoken to somebody the other day who does this for this. This might be of interest to you. And to have that connection is just the best part of that sort of community in that building. Well, COVID is the other one. Is that the answer everyone gives? You know, just generally completely changing your whole life. I think for me, understanding the importance of marketing and exposure. We've, as I say, coming from teachers with absolutely no business knowledge or business background at all, absolutely. We didn't realise the importance of sort of sharing your message or sharing what service is. You just think, we stepped into it like, well, yeah, we've got this great thing, we teachers, and we've created this amazing service, surely everyone will just come flocking. And it doesn't quite work like that. So to understand, to go through, well, the 5to9Club was brilliant for that, because obviously it broke it down into all those little chunks of knowing, well, you need to know about this, you need to know about this, you need to know this. And to have that broken down really sort of flipped what we were doing, which is then we started looking at being a social enterprise once we broke it down into the different parts of our business and realized, well, you know, yes, we've got this brilliant service, we don't know how to do it, but now we've learned, we're going to be able to move through these different factors with the different support along the way. But ultimately, to go with that challenge, the knowing people and learning from people and speaking to people and joining different communities and different settings and different people along the way, that's like one of the biggest lessons, is just speak to everyone always. Yeah, that essentially is that. The best piece of advice is just speak to everyone, because you never know what you're going to learn from somebody. They might be in a completely different sector, doing completely different things, but there's one tiny thing might spark something in you, or you'll have listened to something that you can give to somebody else, which again is ultimately the goal of social enterprise, isn't it? Just to make that difference. So hopefully, well, it's all very COVID dependent, really. We've got our service, we've got this amazing program built that will support children to understand their emotions and work on their well-being and things like that. And it's like a 5-week or 5-session program that we want to be able to take into schools and work with children who have struggled, or just everyone really. It's not specific, it could go anywhere. And then alongside that, we've got like workshops that work up with parents and teacher-based ones as well. And we're just hoping that in time now we'll be able to get back to providing those services and making that difference to the children in mostly our local area, but you know, further afield, the world eventually if we can. Just to generally support us, get our message out there, share our information, anything would be helpful really. Just try and make sure that people know that this is the service that we're offering, and we are excited and enthusiastic to do it, just to make that difference.